How do you know if you're fat adapted on a carnivore diet? Well, we're going to go over 8 signs that tell you whether or not you're fat adapted. Hey, what's shaking bacon? My name is Bruno Panucci. I hope you're doing well. Don't forget to hit the little bell to help get your notifications about these videos. It really helps support the YouTube algorithm if you do that, and it helps support the channel, which helps support me. So I'd really appreciate that. Thanks a lot. So we're going to get right into it today. I've been doing a strict carnivore diet without a lick, taste, or bite of anything off a carnivore diet for almost 2.5 years consistently. And before that, I was very inconsistent for a few years. And then before that, I was doing zero carb inconsistently. You can check out one of my other videos that talks about the difference between a zero carb and carnivore diet. One of the things you want your body to do on a carnivore diet is to get fat adapted. You're cutting out carbohydrates, and typically it works pretty well for most people, especially if you're in your teens, 20s, or 30s. You can easily get fat adapted. So that's where your body is using fat for fuel instead of carbohydrates. And in some cases, it takes a while to get into fat adaptation. It could be a hormone issue, like menopause. It could just be you've yo-yo dieted for a long time, or you've been overweight for a long time. Now, I'm 2 of those last 3 things. I don't think I've hit menopause yet. How can you tell if you're fat adapted? Well, there's a few different ways. One of which is if your poop floats. So if your feces is floating, now it could just mean you have too much fat in your diet. One thing it could mean is that you're not fat adapted yet. Your body's not absorbing this fat properly. So your body's getting the fuel, but it doesn't know what to do with the fuel. So that could be part of the problem. And maybe you need a digestive enzyme to help with that, just in the beginning, just for a while. And hopefully you'll be able to get off of that relatively soon. So fat adaptation has an effect on your hormones, as I just discussed. So not being as hungry in between meals, that's something that helps. Most people who do a carnivore diet eventually land on 2, sometimes just 1 meal a day. They don't try to intermittent fast. It's just how their body sort of balances out, and they eat till they're satiated, and then they eat again. And sometimes that's once a day, and sometimes that's twice a day. So I can easily eat just once a day, 1 big meal if I wanted. Now, I'm not doing that right now. I'm doing multiple small meals in a day to help get my insulin in better check. But I would typically not be hungry in the mornings. Then I might be hungry anywhere between 11 or 1 o'clock, and I could eat enough in that 1 meal because I have a big appetite, but I could have enough in that 1 meal that I can be satisfied for the rest of the day, especially if I have red meat. Now, if I had chicken, even with the skin, I'd be hungry by dinner, guaranteed. But when it's just red meat, it's usually not an issue, especially if it's fatty red meat. I find I can't eat as much volume if it's fatty red meat compared to lean red meat because of the fat content. Fat adaptation influences your hormones. You can tell by the way you feel that your hormones are better balanced. You have better mental clarity. Maybe your joints even feel better. You have less inflammation. You may want to get that checked when you go to your doctor. So if you want to see if your hormones are better balanced, get the blood work to prove it. Make sure when you get your blood work done, you get your fasting insulin checked. Lots of doctors will just skip over that and check out your blood glucose, your fasting blood glucose. But we want to make sure we go the extra step. Another thing is you have just more energy. So fat is a great fuel for energy. Sugar is a great quick fuel for your body, but overall it's not really good for your body. It's sort of corrosive to your body. Your arteries don't like it. Your brain functions on it, but it's not really great. It's good to get you out of a jam if you have really low energy, but you don't want to really make it a day-to-day staple. And that's why lots of people have gone to a keto or carnivore diet. Some people even have to go to a higher fat carnivore diet, and their bodies are going to go through an adjustment. And that adjustment is becoming even more fat adapted than they were on a regular carnivore diet. Carbs give you crashes through the day. Now, if you have a crash on a carnivore diet after you eat, there's a good chance you ate too much. Probably too much protein. I used to get crashes on a carnivore diet all the time before I went to multiple small meals. And as much as they say, yeah, your energy's balanced on a carnivore diet, not for everyone. If you're metabolically sound and your body's really improving and you're doing great, then that's good. And I've gotten a long way with carnivore. I've lost at one point 160 pounds with carnivore, though I've recently taken a couple steps back, even though I've been strict. But that's a topic for another video. But I can still have energy slumps on a carnivore diet if I'm not having multiple small meals. The amount of protein I was getting in that 1 meal of, say, 1.5 pounds of ground beef, or even 1 pound of ground beef, was still enough of a bump in my blood sugar to screw around with my insulin. So just because you're on a carnivore diet doesn't mean you're always going to have positive consequences with your meals. And if you've lost a lot of weight, then it probably did adapt really well. Maybe most or all of your health problems have gone. Now, another thing is you feel more satiated with less food. So right now, it feels like I'm not really eating a lot through the day because I'm splitting my meals up between 5 small meals. So if I'm still having 2 pounds of ground beef in a day, as an example, and I split that between 5 meals, each meal is going to feel really small with me, even though I'm adding fat to those meals, but yet I feel satiated all day. If anything, by the end of the day, I'm eating meals when I don't want to eat. So I have to make sure to exercise with weights or a lot of walking to make sure my body can handle 5 or 6 meals in a day. And I'm talking like 18 to 20 grams of protein per meal. So 5 or 6 of those meals is enough protein for me through the day, but my body still isn't handling that well. So even though I'm on a lower end to moderate level of protein in my diet, and I'm having a high fat carnivore diet, my fasting insulin is still really high, but that's not the case for most people. Another issue is heightened mental clarity. When people go to a ketogenic or high fat carnivore diet, even just a regular carnivore diet, they have this mental sharpness. They have less brain fog. When I eat too lean, you hear me say a lot in conversation. I'll be in the middle of a sentence and I'll forget what I was talking about sometimes. So if I have too much chicken too many days in a row, that happens to me. I know someone who went to a ketogenic diet years ago and they said they will never go off of it. Now, kind of they do a lazy version of keto now, but they said the mental clarity alone is worth it on top of the weight loss that they had. Another thing typically is increased fat loss. Most people who go to a high fat keto or carnivore diet lose weight. Most people who just go to a regular carnivore diet lose weight. And I recommend that for most people. It's for the outliers like myself who have to do a little bit more to get those results for weight loss. Better sleep. I know when I'm eating too lean because my sleep always suffers very quickly. Within the first night or two, my sleep suffers. I'll wake up more frequently through the night. I never have trouble falling asleep. It's staying asleep. And what's happening there is I'm waking up because my blood sugar gets too low in the middle of the night, and it wakes you up. Your cortisol goes up, your adrenaline goes up, your blood sugar goes up, and you're awake. And you're wide awake lying there, sometimes for a half hour, sometimes for a few hours. Now I get between 7 and 8 hours of sleep a night, and it's really nice. I haven't had that in years. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this high-fat version of carnivore myself. It's one of the non-scale victories I'm getting. You have increased endurance with physical activity. Now, I found when I was doing a lot of calories on a carnivore diet a number of videos ago, my first 4 months of recording these videos, I was getting about 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day. And I was doing aggressive weight training for 20 minutes at a time. And I found I couldn't go past 22 to 25 minutes. It's like I hit a wall and I needed to stop and rest. But when you're on a higher fat version of carnivore, the fuel is readily available. You're convincing your body to use fat as fuel to get you through the routines, because before your body was used to using carbs and sugars. So now you're switching that up, and the fat is going to help you have even energy all through the day, even when you're exercising. You don't have that, afterwards when you've done this aggressive workout. You feel good. You can go about your day afterwards, and that's the way it's supposed to be after a workout. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I appreciate you tuning in and watching till the end. I really appreciate that. Please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot. Take care.